It's okay. Next up, we got another guy who's kind of one of those low floor, high ceiling kind of guys here. Keon Coleman. Oh yes, Keon. Another guy who split some time there. Played last year over at Florida State. Prior to 2 years to that, over at Michigan State. He just loves states. He just wanted to visit all the states at that point. 6'3", 213 pounds. Again, just 20 years old. So remember we talked about before with raw players. You don't mind raw players when they're very young, as long as they're coachable. And this guy definitely falls into that category. Plus that size, 6'3", 213 pounds. If that's not prototypical, I don't know what is. Last year at Florida State, 12 games, 50 receptions, 658 yards, 11 touchdowns. TD machine there. 1 rush for 2 yards. Back in 22 over Michigan State, 12 games, 58 receptions, 798 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Pros on him. Athletic, boxes out. He's actually got a basketball background. You can kind of see it when he goes for that jump ball. It's almost like he's like going to get the ball as it comes out the hoop there at that point there. He's got that kind of look there when he does that. Really good body control, great catch radius, and speedy with good acceleration. These are all great things, and a lot of these things are things you cannot teach, which is, again, why I'm saying he's up there very high, but he's up there with that. You got a high ceiling, and you got a low floor. This is that kind of guy there. He could be a number 1 receiver in this league potentially. That's his ceiling. Like, this is a guy that could be a 1,000-yard receiver year in and year out at the NFL. He's got that potential. But he's also a guy that could be a 300-400-yard receiver, guy that goes down to your 4th and 5th receiver at that point. He's got that as well, because the cons in there, you got to look at the fact that he has some separation concerns. You look at him there, as much as he's good at boxing out. It's a damn good thing he's good at boxing out, because he had to do it a lot, and a lot more than he should have had to do.
I was going to say,
yeah.
His biggest thing is, like, you saw that basketball, like, movement from being in close quarters, because he had to be able to go in the movement to make the catches. But, like, at the end of the day, you could do that in college to get away with it. Can you do that in the NFL?
And I think a lot of that really is the fact that he's a very raw route runner. He kind of just runs and does his thing. He doesn't have some of the nuances in route running that you need at that point there. So again, if he's coachable and you have the right guy to teach him and you can get around that, this is a guy that, like I said, sky's the limit for what he can do there. But again, you have to look at that floor and that ceiling. You can't just look at this. I love when guys do that. Oh, this guy's got a 1,000-yard receiver written all over him. Why did he do it in college then?
Yep.
If he's got it,
this
why
man
did he
could
do it
be
in
a
college?
Greek god
or
a leprechaun.
You have to be realistic in what you're saying at that point. This guy could be. Why do you say no offense as if he's a leprechaun? He's calling him a leprechaun. No offense, leprechaun. Like, wow. This guy's never coming on the show.
I didn't want to interrupt
leprechaun
because you were making a good point, and I didn't want to like just start bursting out laughing. I was like, that was fucking funny. That was really good.
Listen,
my last name after me, Lucky Charms.
I get the most Irish last name here, so
it's okay.
That's fair.
It's all right. I married into the family, so it's okay. But yeah, I mean, again, you got it. I love people say that, like, oh, he's got a 1,000-yard receiver written all over him, but they don't acknowledge that floor. You have to acknowledge the floor with a guy like Keon Coleman, because it's there, it's legit, and if you ignore it, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because to depend on this guy to be a number 1 right off the bat when he has these issues and he has that rawness is setting him up for failure. You need to set him up as a number 2, number 3 at that point. Almost like, let's say you had a guy that's going to be coming up for a big contract soon. You go, I got 1 or 2 more years, and you do that kind of forward-thinking thought process. That's a team that should draft a guy like Keon Coleman and go, you know what? Maybe he can take over for him in a couple of years, and I can avoid paying him $25 million a year. That's the kind of forward-thinking team needs to go ahead for a guy like that.
So
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
So you're saying he's a cowboy?
Why? They're going to pay CeeDee Lamb.
I don't think the Cowboys have made it a secret that they like him a lot too. So
yeah. Again, he's got that kind of cowboy glow to him at that point there. They love guys that have high potential and they don't care about the floor.
No.
They figure they take enough guys with high potential, enough of them are going to pan out. And let's be very frank, though, as much as we hate the Cowboys here in the show, they've been done very well in the regular season. The postseason is a whole other thing. But the regular season-wise, most teams would take their regular 12 and 5 kind of record at that point there. I mean, so you can't 100% say they're wrong in what they're doing.
Nope.
And they do that at key positions, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line. They keep taking the shots corner. They take the shots at the important positions like that.
Quarterbacks.
Which, if you notice, it's what the Giants finally did this year. Said, we'll let our safety and our running back walk. What's going to build up the offensive line and the defensive line? Because if you can't win the trenches, you can't win point blank in general.
I just remembered you got Thibodeau and Burns now on your line. Like
that's what I'm saying. With Dexter Lawrence in the middle.
And then the possibility of adding like Mason Taylor in the second round from LSU.
This is going to be, if they can all stay healthy and work well together, it's going to be a fun line at that point. Though I do still say we overpaid for Brian Burns, and I don't mean draft capital. I mean money wise. We paid on potential. We definitely paid on potential, and I hate that.
We did, but if it pans out, it was a great deal.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.